What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, a museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Right now, we're going to continue with the greatest light heavyweight champions of all times, with, in my opinion, the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. I have this man ranked number 6 behind all the great fighters in the past. I have him behind Sam Langford, Harry Greb, Sugar Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong, Muhammad Ali, and the great himself, Ancient Archie, the Old Mongoose, Moore. Now, Archie Moore was among the greatest African-American fighters during the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. They called him the Black Murderous Row, and Archie Moore was among them. He had fought them many of times. But besides Ezra Charles and Joe Walcott, he was the only ones to get a title shot. So let's take a look at his fantastic and magnificent career. Archie Moore, as they call him Ancient, was one of a legion of quality black fighters who were exploited, avoided, and confined to the club circuits in the 1930s and 1940s. Unlike most, Moore persisted and eventually held the world light heavyweight title for almost 10 years. By the time he fought Joey Maxim for the championship, he was 39 years old and a veteran of almost 170 bouts. And Maxim's manager, Jack Kearns. Now, Jack Kearns had already managed Joey Maxim, Mickey Walker, and Jack Dempsey. Jack Kearns bled the promotion deal so dry that Moore boxed for $800 minus expenses, which meant for nothing. Now, this reminds me of Bob Arum, because Bob Arum has been around the boxing circuit a very long time himself. So you can see history does repeat itself. In 1955, he challenged heavyweight champion Rocky Marciano before a massive crowd of 61,574 people in Yankee Stadium, New York. He dropped the Rock with a right uppercut in round 2, but was knocked out in 9 rounds. That night, with his right eye swollen shut, he was seen playing his beloved string bass with a local band. Now, Archie Moore was born December 13th, 1916 in St. Louis, Missouri. He stood 5 foot 11 inches and was managed by Charlie Johnson. His mother says he was born December 13th, 1913. Archie Moore began his professional career in 1936 and received his first chance at a world title in 1952. Though for 10 years, he was a leading middleweight and light heavyweight contender. Moore, a terrific puncher, has KO'd more than half of his more than 125 opponents. Among them, he has stopped Bob Dunlap, Jimmy Bivens, great murderous row fighter, Leonard Morrow, Bob Satterfield. Bob Satterfield was a massive puncher. Holman Williams, Dynamite. Lloyd Marshall, great murderous row fighter. Fred Henningberry and Ron Richards. Now, all these fighters that I just named, dynamite fighters. Dynamite fighters. After 3 years as a number 1 light heavyweight contender, which embraced the reign of Gus Lesnievich, Freddie Mills, and Joey Maxim, Moore finally received a chance at the 175-pound title. On December 17, 1952, at the Arena St. Louis, and decisively whipped in Oregon, Utah, in 15 rounds by a split decision. In 1954, Archie defended his crown twice, beating Joey Maxim in 15 rounds and halting Howard Johnson in 14 rounds. Moore defended his title, his light heavyweight championship title, with Carl Bobo Olsen. Now, Carl Bobo Olsen was a middleweight champion. He defeated Sugar Ray Robinson. And he fought Randy Turpin as well in 1955, scoring 3-round knockdown, and then failed in his bid to take the heavyweight title from Rocky Marciano. And Rocky Marciano KO'd him in 6 rounds in 1955. And that was Rocky Marciano's last fight before he retired. This happened in 9 rounds, it says. Though he dropped Rocky Marciano in the second, in 1956, Moore KO'd Yolande Pompey on June 5th in London, England, in defense of the title. Then he stopped the Canadian heavyweight champion James Parker in Toronto, Canada. He knocked out Tony Anthony in the 6th round in defense of his light heavyweight title. On August 12, 1959, he successfully defended his title against Yvon Durrell, again in Montreal, scoring a 3-round knockout. Following that fight, he was signed to play a part of Huckleberry Finn in the movies. Now, Archie Moore versus Harold Johnson. As you can see here, he faced Harold Johnson 5 times. Moore retained the world light heavyweight title. He fought him in 1949, 1951 twice, 1952, and 1954. Here you have Archie Moore versus Jimmy Bivens. Jimmy Bivens, we had covered him already, one of the great murderous row fighters. He fought him 5 times. He fought him 1945, 1947, 1948, 1949, and 1951. We're going to take a look at Archie Moore's career, but we're going to look at his definitive fights. Now, in 1936, he started his professional career, January 31st, where Poco Kid in Hot Springs killed him in 2 rounds. Dale Richards killed him in 1 round. Ray Halford in St. Louis killed him in 3 rounds. And this goes on before his first loss, Cortland Shepard, St. Louis, he lost 6 rounds. In his next 2 defeats, he faced Frankie Nelson, this was in 6 rounds, and Tiger Brown in St. Louis. That was in 6 rounds. Sammy Jackson, December 8th, St. Louis, a 6-round draw. Sammy Christensen, St. Louis. He killed him in 6 rounds. 1937, January 5th, Dynamite Payne. St. Louis killed him in 1. January 18th, Johnny Davis, Quincy, Illinois, killed him in 3 rounds. And this continues. As you can see, all victories. His 4th defeat, Johnny Romero, San Diego, lost in 10 rounds. That was June 24th, 1938. And this continues. Irish Bob Turner, St. Louis, December 7th, killed him in the 2nd round. 1939, January 20th, Jack Moran, St. Louis, killed him in 1 round. His next loss, April 20th, Teddy Uros. He was a champion, a middleweight champion. St. Louis, he lost in 10 rounds. December 7th, Honey Boy Jones, St. Louis, defeated him in 10 rounds. December 21st, Shorty Hughes, San Diego, lost in 6 rounds. 1940, all victories. December 5th, Shorty Hughes, San Diego, California, he lost in 6 rounds. And I'm skimming through his career because he has a massive career. December 5th, Shorty Hughes, lost to him again. San Diego, California, 6 rounds. 1941, Clay Rowan, San Francisco, killed him in 1 round. It was January 17th of 1941. January 31st, Shorty Hughes, San Diego, California, lost in 10. So Shorty Hughes is obviously a phenomenal fighter. February 26th, his first murderous fighter, Eddie Booker, San Diego, California, 10-round draw. Retired because of extended illness. Then he came back, 1942. January 28th, Bobby Britt, Phoenix, Arizona, killed him in 3 rounds. This continues. December 11th, Eddie Booker, San Diego, California, 10-round draw. On November 27th, another black murderous fighter, Jack Chase, San Diego. He defeated him in 10 rounds. 1943, May 8th, he fights Jack Chase again. San Diego, California, defeated him in 15 rounds. August 2nd, Jack Chase, San Francisco, he lost 15 rounds. August 16th, another black murderous fighter, Aaron Wade, San Francisco. He defeated him in 10 rounds. November 26th, Jack Chase, San Diego, California, defeated him in 10 rounds. 1944, January 7th, Armando Rodriguez, San Diego, California, killed him in 1 round. January 21st, Eddie Booker, Hollywood. He was knocked out in 8 rounds by Eddie Booker. March 24th, Roman Star, Hollywood, California, killed him in 2 rounds. April 21st, Charlie Burley. This was in Hollywood, California. He lost in 10 rounds. May 19th, Kenny LaSalle, San Diego, California. He defeated him in 10 rounds. September 1st, Battling Monroe, San Diego, California, killed him in 6 rounds. December 18th, Nate Bolden, New York City, defeated him in 10 rounds. 1945. And as you can see, his only loss that year was to Jimmy Bivens. This was August 22nd. He was knocked out in 6 rounds. But May 21st, he fought Lloyd Marshall, another black murderous fighter, Cleveland, Ohio, defeated him in 10 rounds. September 17th, Coco Kid, Baltimore, killed him in 8 rounds. October 22nd, Holman Williams, Baltimore, he lost in 10 rounds. November 26th, Holman Williams, Baltimore, killed him in 11 rounds. Holman Williams, I have him as the best black murderous fighter. That's my opinion. And then I have Charlie Burley after him. 1946, January 28th, Curtis Shepard, great African-American heavyweight, was part of our black murderous road crew. Baltimore, Maryland. He defeated him in 12 rounds. February 5th, Georgie Parks, Washington, killed him in 1 round. May 20th, Ezard Charles, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He lost in 10 rounds. August 19th, Buddy Walker, great African-American fighter, Baltimore, Maryland. Killed him in 4 rounds. October 23rd, Oakland, Billy Smith, fought him in Oakland, California. 12-round draw. November 6th, Jack Chase, Oakland, California, 10-round draw. 1947, March 18th, Jack Chase, Los Angeles, California, killed him in 9 rounds. April 11th, Rusty Payne, San Diego, defeated him in 10 rounds. May 5th, Ezard Charles, Cincinnati, Ohio, he lost in 10 rounds. June 16th, Curtis Shepard, Washington, defeated him in 10 rounds. July 14th, Burt Littell, a great African-American middleweight, part of the Murderous Row Crew, Baltimore, Maryland, defeated him in 10 rounds. July 30th, Bobby Zander, another good African-American fighter, Oakland, He defeated him in 12 rounds. September 8th, Jimmy Bivens, Baltimore, Maryland, KO'd him in 9 rounds. November 10th, George Fitt, Baltimore, Maryland, KO'd him in 6 rounds. 1948, January 13th, started the year off with Edgar Charles, Cleveland. He was knocked out in 8 rounds. And this continues. April 19th, Doc Williams, another great African-American fighter. Newark, New Jersey, KO'd him in 7 rounds. May 5th, Oakland Billy Smith, Cincinnati, Ohio, defeated him in 10 rounds. June 2nd, Leonard Morrow, great African-American fighter. Oakland, he was knocked out in 1 round by Leonard Morrow. June 28th, Jimmy Bivens, Baltimore, Maryland, defeated him in 10 rounds. August 2nd, Ted Larry, a very good African-American fighter, Baltimore, defeated him in 10 rounds. September 20th, Oakland Billy Smith, Baltimore, killed him in 4 rounds. October 15th, Henry Hall, New Orleans, lost in 10 rounds. November 1st, Lloyd Gibbons, Washington, D.C., lost on a foul in 4 rounds. December 6th, Bob Amos, Washington, defeated him in 10 rounds. December 27th, Charlie Doc Williams, Baltimore, killed him in 7 rounds. 1949, January 10th, Alabama Kid, Toledo, Ohio, killed him in 4 rounds. January 31st, Bob Satterfield, hard-punching Bob Satterfield, Toledo, Ohio, killed him in 3 rounds. March 4th, Alabama Kid, outstanding African-American fighter, Columbus, Ohio, killed him in 3 rounds. April 11th, Jimmy Bivens, Toledo, Ohio, killed him in 8 rounds. April 26th, Harold Johnson, Philadelphia, defeated him in 10 rounds. June 13th, Clinton Bacon, Indianapolis, lost on a foul in 6 rounds. March 4th, Alabama Kid, Columbus, Ohio, killed him in 3 rounds. March 23rd, Dusty Wilkerson, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, KO'd him in 6 rounds. April 11th, Jimmy Bivens, Toledo, Ohio, killed him in 8 rounds. April 26th, Harold Johnson, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he defeated him in 10 rounds. June 13th, Clinton Bacon, good fighter, Indianapolis, lost on a foul in 6. June 27th, Bob Sykes, Indianapolis, killed him in 3. And this continues. December 6th, Doc Williams, Hartford, Connecticut, killed him in 8 rounds. December 13th, Leonard Morrow, Toledo, Ohio, killed him in 10 rounds. 1950, January 31st, Murderers Row, Burt Littell, Toledo, Ohio, defeated him in 10 rounds. July 31st, Vernon Williams, Chicago, killed him in 2 rounds, 1951. January 2nd, Oakland Billy Smith, Portland, Oregon, killed him in 8 rounds. January 28th, John Thomas, Panama, killed him in 1 round. February 21st, Jimmy Bivens, New York, killed him in 9 rounds. See, and this goes on and on and on. This is why I have Archie Moore, greatest light heavyweight of all times, greatest light heavyweight champion of all times. It's going to continue. December 10th, Harold Johnson, Milwaukee, he lost in 10 rounds. 1952, January 29, Harold Johnson, Toledo, Ohio, he defeated him in 10 rounds. February 27th, Jimmy Sladd. Jimmy Sladd was an underestimated, an underrated African-American fighter, great fighter. St. Louis, defeated him in 10 rounds. May 19th, Bob Dunlap, San Francisco, California, killed him in 6 rounds. June 26th, Clarence Henry, Baltimore, defeated him in 10 rounds. Clarence Henry and Bob Satterfield and Holman Williams and Bob Baker, they all had their wars with one another. December 17th, Joey Maxim, St. Louis, defeated him in 15 rounds and won the World Light Heavyweight Championship. That was a proud moment for Archie Moore. All out hard work. And he only made $800 for that fight, as we saw. 1953. All victories, all knockouts. March 11th, Nino Valdez, St. Louis, Cuban heavyweight. He defeated him in 10 rounds. March 30th, another good African-American fighter, Frank Buford, San Diego, California, killed him in 9 rounds. I have all of these fighters' profiles, every last one of them. June 24th, Joey Maxim, a rematch, defeated him in 15 rounds. That was a title bout opportunity for Joey Maxim. And this continues. January 27th, Joey Maxim, Miami, Florida, defeated him in 15 rounds. Another title opportunity. That's the hard working of Jack Kearns. March 9th, Big Bob Baker, outstanding African-American heavyweight. Miami Beach, killed him in 9 rounds. June 7th, Burt Whitehurst, New York, killed him in 6 rounds. August 11th, Harold Johnson, New York, killed him in 14 rounds, the title bout. 1955, May 2nd, Nino Valdez, Las Vegas. He defeated him in 15 rounds. June 22nd, Carl Bobo Olsen, New York, killed him in 3 rounds. That was for the World Light Heavyweight title. Carl Bobo Olsen was the middleweight champion. September 21st, Rocky Marciano, New York. He was stopped in 9 rounds for the World Heavyweight Championship. October 22nd, Dale Hall, good African-American fighter. Philadelphia, 4-round exhibition. 1956, February 6th, Dale Hall. That was a 4-round exhibition. February 20th, Howard King, San Francisco, California, defeated him in 10 rounds. February 27th, Bob Dunlap, San Diego, California, killed him in 1 round. April 10th, Willie Beam, very good African-American heavyweight. He was part of that Rock'em Sock'em with all of them fighters that I just mentioned to you, with the Holman Williams. I'm sorry, with the Johnny Holmans and the Nino Valdez and so on. Richmond, Virginia, killed him in 5 rounds. April 26th, Sonny Andrews, killed him in 4 rounds. April 30th, Gene Thompson, Tucson, killed him in 3 rounds. June 5th, Yolande Pompey, London, killed him in 10 rounds. Light heavyweight title bout. That was Rocky Marciano's last title defense, Yolande Pompey. He was campaigning for Rocky Marciano's heavyweight title, and he had to face Floyd Patterson in order for that to happen. July 25th, James J. Parker, Toronto, killed him in 9 rounds. September 8th, Roy Shear, killed him in 3 rounds. November 30th, Floyd Patterson, Chicago. He was stopped in 5 rounds for the vacant world heavyweight title because Rocky Marciano put his title up and he decided that he wanted Floyd Patterson and Archie Moore to fight for that title. 1957. September 20th, Tony Anthony, Los Angeles, KO7 for the light heavyweight title. So he continued with his light heavyweight championship. Okay. October 31st, Bob Mitchell, Vancouver, Canada, KO'd him in 5 rounds. This continues, 1958. All victories that year. Burt Whitehurst, March 4th, killed him in 10 rounds. Bob Allwright, Vancouver, killed him in 7 rounds. Howard King, San Diego, defeated him in 10 rounds. Now, Charlie Norcus, May 26th, San Francisco, defeated him in 10 rounds. Let me just read this. December 10th, Yvonne Durrell, Montreal, killed him in 11 rounds. World Light Heavyweight Championship. Charlie Norcus. You know, this fighter right here, outstanding heavyweight. He was a phenomenal heavyweight, Charlie Norcus. He had, to me, probably the number 3rd greatest fight of all times with Danny Nardico. Danny Nardico was a light heavyweight. He's the first man to knock out Jake LaMotta. Danny Nardico was an outstanding light heavyweight, and he faced Charlie Norcus twice. And their first fight, I have ranked number 3 as the greatest fights of all time. They were both knocked down plenty of times. I mean, they fought each other to the death, almost like a Hagler-Hearn situation. 1959, February 5th, Eddie Cotton. Eddie Cotton would be a referee today. Eddie Cotton. In fact, I think Eddie Cotton was the referee for Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. 5th round exhibition. August 12th, Yvonne Durrell, Montreal. KO'd in 3 rounds. Now, getting back to that Yvonne Durrell and Archie Moore. One of the greatest fights of all time. They both went down a few times, and Archie Moore came out the victor. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fight. And eventually Archie Moore would face Muhammad Ali. You see Pete Rademacher, Baltimore killed him in 6 in a non-title. Because he wanted to discipline Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay, and he had him sweep around the kitchen floor. And Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay, thought it was insulting for him to even be asked that question. And he told him that he would whip him like he was his granddaddy. So Moore said, all right, let's have it then. So they fought. The campaign was Moore in 4. And in the 4th round, Moore went down because he couldn't keep up with the young, fast Muhammad Ali. And that was basically it for Archie Moore. But Archie Moore would go on to be in the corner of George Foreman, along with Dick Sadler. Dick Sadler was the brother of Sandy Sadler, African-American featherweight who had wars with Willie Pep. I have Sandy Sadler, one of the greatest fighters of all time. I think he had more KOs along with Archie Moore, and he retired undefeated, defending his light heavyweight, his featherweight championship. So Archie Moore, salute to Archie Moore. My dad got this photo. This photo was signed to Harry Wiley. Now, Harry Wiley was a trainer of Sugar Ray Robinson. Harry Wiley had a gym on 116th Street in Harlem where Sugar Ray Robinson trained. And that photo was given to Holly Wiley, and Holly Wiley gave it to my dad. So that's very special to me. That's why these books mean a lot to me. And I share them with you, because I have respect for the sport. I want you to learn and appreciate it. But I have a lot of books that I haven't even showed, full of autographs. I mean, it's just a lot of crazy things I have. So let's continue with Archie Moore. As you can see here, Archie Moore posing. Phenomenal fighter. You can see him facing Rocky Marciano in 1955. It's an outstanding fight. 2 outstanding fighters. You can see the great Archie Moore. Phenomenal fighter, phenomenal. We see Archie Moore. Along with Joey Maxim. This is who he took the title from. Proud moment in Archie Moore's life. I pulled out a scrapbook with all Archie Moore, about 880 pages of just Archie Moore. We're just going to look at parts of his career. Here you have Archie Moore with J.J. Parker. Training for that fight. This book is another problem that I'm having with all the boxing museum and the boxing archives. So we see here Archie Moore training. J.J. Parker going through some contract agreements. This is the arena that they're going to fight in. Here you have Jay Parker's wife. This is Archie Moore's wife and his mother. And this is J.J. Parker's wife. Looking on. That's J.J. Parker and his wife. She's not too happy with the outcome. Parker prepares for more. I'm just skipping through pages here. This is Archie Moore signing a contract with J.J. Parker. Archie Moore and J.J. Parker here. Moore and Parker on dotted line for July 25th, March in Toronto. Archie Moore and James J. Parker signed for a heavyweight title bout in Toronto, July 25th, as their managers and supporters look on. Seated left to right are Samuel Siglin, Q.C. Parker, Merv Mackenzie, Ontario Athletic Commissioner, and Moore behind Parker wearing light coat is his manager. Charlie Johnston on the right. Charlie Johnson up there, that's Moore's manager. And they begin to train for their fights. Parker hitting Moore's face on a heavy bag. These are obviously photo ops. Let's move on. Some more photo ops. There's Archie Moore getting the crown taken away from him by James J. Parker. This is in training camp. So I'm going to be skipping a lot because there's a lot of photos in preparation of this fight with Moore and Parker. There's other fights I want to show you of Archie Moore. Here you have Archie Moore and James J. Parker in the tail of the tape here. James J. Parker. Archie Moore looking at James J. Parker. And this goes on and on, just as a promotion. Moore chopping down the tree here. The Archie Moore story. Parker can beat Moore, Whitey Bimstein declares. So Whitey Bimstein, he was a trainer for Rocky Graziano, a lot of Italian fighters at that time. Moore says he'll defeat the younger foe, referring to James J. Parker. Moore unmarked in his 9th round technical knockout over James J. Parker, predicted. Thursday, he would beat Floyd Patterson in September and listed California as his favorite site. We got Moore already predicting where he wants to face Floyd Patterson. Has to get past James J. Parker first. Here's some more of that fight with Archie Moore and James J. Parker. Just skimming through this. Now, this woman right here, her name is Joyce Brothers, Dr. Joyce Brothers. She was on a game show, and she had to know any question they asked about boxing. Now, she's a doctor, and she was such a boxing fan. She studied the entire boxing encyclopedia, and she got every question right. And she became very famous for that. But she was a boxing historian. Here you have Archie Moore, James J. Parker. Getting it in. Could have hurt him for life, claims Archie Moore. Archie Moore with his back to you, Parker facing you. Moore hits Parker with a right hand. And as you can see, he's doing the crab-like defense. Moore's the victor. I have so many pictures of these. Let me just move on to another fighter. These are all newspaper articles that my dad cut out. And he had them in boxes and boxes, and then him and I pasted them all in the books. We used to do it every Saturday after the gym. And I never thought I would have the collection that I have now. I have 950 boxing scrapbooks. I have boxing scrapbooks that are just, I'm not even going to put on here at all. Like I said, I had brokers come over here, made a big mistake just to get a consignment. One almost passed out. The other one was foaming from the mouth. He said he's never seen anything like it in his life. I might have the greatest collection in the world. I don't know. That's what he told me. And they haven't stopped bothering me since. Changed my number several times and they find me. I don't know. Let's move on. Moore and James J. Parker. All right. All right, so now we're looking into Archie Moore and Yvonne Durrell. Like I said in one of the videos that I had before, every newspaper are in my boxing scrapbooks. Every Spanish, French, you're going to find all kind of languages in here because anything containing the boxing, I used to collect. My dad collected. It's funny, I shouldn't even be saying this, but we used to be in doctor's offices and we'd go through the different magazines, Sports Illustrated, what have you. And if we saw something, nobody was looking, we'd rip it out and put it in our pocket. And we were just fanatics when it came to this. Here you have Archie Moore and Yvonne Durrell. Here you have Archie Moore, Jackie Robinson receiving an award. Now, like I told you before, Yvonne Durrell and Archie Moore, they both went down several times, as you can see here. Moore down, Moore's down, Durrell's down. This time, Durrell couldn't get up. Here you have Archie Moore down. Moore's down, Durrell's down. And this fight was going back and forth constantly like this. Both men kept going down. Both men kept getting up. Says here, Yvonne blew first round chance in historic battle. This is Archie Moore and Tony Anthony. About to get it in. Light heavyweight scrap. Young Tony Anthony thinks he can do something with Archie Moore. Archie Moore in training. And you see Archie Moore laying on the ropes with a crab-like defense, watching his adversary very closely. Got Moore with his wife and newborn. Now, Archie Moore used to chop wood with an axe. And, he tried to do that as he got older, but that's what he did when he was young. Here you have Archie Moore's wife. Joan Moore. And there's Archie Moore lining up with Joey Maxim. It's when he captured the light heavyweight championship from Joey Maxim. Joan Moore. Archie, Yvonne both vow fight. Won't go the limit. So they fought a few times. Moore 174 and a quarter. Yvonne 173. All right, let's get on to Floyd Patterson and Archie Moore. Let me just show you two more pages of Moore and Durrell. I'll probably have another 100 pages of this fight to go, but I'm just going to show you like two more pages. You're not going to find any of these pictures in books on a website anywhere other than what I just showed you. At all. Not going to happen. There are authors of books who are hounding me for these things because they don't have these photos or articles at all. These are the last pages I'm going to show you of this fight. I told my subscribers that I would value their time with excellent content. I'm trying to do that. Hopefully you guys are getting something out of it and appreciating it. Some great fight footages of this fight. All right, let's move on to Floyd Patterson. Now here we have Floyd Patterson preparing for Archie Moore. Now what happened was Rocky Marciano, when he retired, he selected Floyd Patterson and Archie Moore to fight for that crown. Now he had already defeated Archie Moore. And he knew Floyd Patterson couldn't take a heavyweight's punch. He knew that. So in case he wanted to make a comeback, him and Jim Norris, who was the promoter, selected these two fighters fight for that strap. Here you have tail of the tape, Moore and Patterson. Got Joe Louis in the locker room of Floyd Patterson. It says here Joe Louis favors Archie Moore. Former heavyweight champion Joe Louis today joins the majority of boxing experts who have picked Archie Moore to beat Floyd Patterson in their 15-round title bout at Chicago Stadium tonight. Louis said he thought the 39-year-old Moore should win on his punching power alone. The former title holder explained, "I don't think Patterson is strong enough to be the champion yet. He needs more experience. The heavyweight champion must be a strong man one who can come into a ring and take charge immediately. He must be rough and tough, able to put the pressure on his opponent and boss his fight. Boss the fight. Moore can do that, but I don't think Patterson can. Floyd still is a kid, only 21. Pre-fight odds, which several days ago had Moore favored 8-5, have shifted partially to even money with 6-5 and take either man the current routine. So the thing is, that's what I've been saying all along. Floyd Patterson and Rocky Marciano knew this. He couldn't take a heavyweight's punch. That was the problem. And that's why Joe Louis believed that Archie Moore, although 39, would defeat a young 21-year-old who won the Olympic championship in Helsinki and had an outstanding, phenomenal amateur career, would defeat him. Would defeat Floyd Patterson. You see Moore going down Floyd Patterson. Moore congratulating Patterson on a well-fought fight. You see Patterson catching Moore with a left hook. He figured he would catch him with uppercuts and left hooks, and that's what he was doing. So I'm going to end this video. It's too many more pages to go through of this fight. This fight alone is another 100 pages just with this fight alone, Moore and Patterson. So this is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I hope you enjoyed it. Archie Moore, I welcome you into my Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Salute to you. I have you number 6 of the greatest fighters of all time, and I have you the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Salute to my subscribers. Shout out to Brother Blood Boxing, Marlowe's Corner, my brother Kurt Sugar. Salute. Salute to the brother Phenom Boxing as well. Phenom International.